Carl Froch has spoken. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. A lot of you guys wanted me to make the video talking about this. Carl Froch has recently responded, so let's go. Let's talk about it. In case you did not know, the WBA organization, who has Andre Ward as the super middleweight champion and Carl Froch as the regular super middleweight champion, they recently ordered Carl Froch to go into negotiations and fight to see, who's the winner in that situation in a rematch with Andre Ward. Meaning they have an allotted amount of time. Carl Froch has 30 days, 120 days or whatnot to discuss and negotiate a fight. If the two teams can't negotiate within that amount of time and come up on some kind of agreement to make that fight, that means it goes to a purse bid. And if for whatever reason beyond that they can't agree upon the fight, then that means Carl Froch will get stripped of his title. Now, Carl Froch recently spoke to the Daily Mail. Shout out to the Daily Mail. Make sure you follow him, dailymail.co.uk. Good online site. They cover everything, not just sports or boxing. And this is what Carl Froch had to say. I fought him, meaning Andre Ward, in the U.S., and he's referring to the Super 6 tournament on Showtime that they had, in which Andre Ward beat him. Now it's only right that he comes over here. To be a truly great champion, you have to box overseas. Ward needs to be forced to travel out of his comfort zone. I dare him. He says it's going to be a different outcome if Ward were to travel to the UK to fight him. He then goes on to say that he was the IBF champion, and due to an elbow injury, they said he should be cleared to come back around summertime, but he didn't want to stall anybody out or hold up the process, so he was able to, he gave up his title, his IBF title. Now, I think James DeGale, who was the mandatory and wanted that title, he's going to be able to fight probably Andre Durrell for it. And he says he's not giving up this title, though. He said he doesn't want to relinquish the WBA title. So, a great turn of events. One, you don't always see the governing bodies for something like this. Mayweather, his mandatories were Edeslandi Lara and Keith Thurman. And you don't see, there's a lot of times when you have star power and you're like big in the sport, not just Mayweather, but just a big name in the sport, they don't really go after you and like force you to fight the person who's your mandatory. So in this situation, it's good to see that a sanctioning body is actually enforcing the rules and trying to make these great fights. Andre Ward versus Carl Froch 2 is a great fight. Lots changed. They both have come a long way. I think Carl Froch put on some impressive performances. George Groves' first fight, a little bit rocky. He was hurt, down, controversy. Then he came and set the record straight, showed the world that he was supposed to do it, and it wasn't a fluke. And he ended up stopping George Groves again in front of a sold-out, packed house at Wembley. That was a great win. He also did the same thing with Mikkel Kessler. He showed that he's better than Kessler, or he had a rematch with him, and he looked good and really just beat Kessler up, beat him to the punch and that kind of stuff. Same thing with Andre Ward. He's done some things here and there, but he also has been out of the sport for a while. He was injured, so he had to deal with the shoulder rehab and surgery. Then he came back in 2013, fought Edwin Rodriguez, and he's really been MIA since then. He had legal trouble with Dan Goossen, and rest in peace to Dan Goossen. He was able to find a way to rectify that situation by signing with Jay-Z and Rock Nation Sports, get that cleared up, and we're waiting to see him back in the ring. So a lot has happened since the 3 years ago in the Super 6 tournament. I like the fight. I think both fighters have come a long way. But, I can't disagree with Carl Froch. It would be good to see Andre Ward tested. He's been out of the sport. He's 30 plus, so the fans are going to want to see him back in the ring and prove his worth, because a lot of people took him off of the pound for pound list. I did, and I told you that I was doing that. And I'm from the Bay Area, so there's no Bay Area bias. I really respect Andre Ward, but I can't hold a place for somebody in line while other guys like Gennady Golovkin and the different people are constantly moving through the ranks and fighting and more active. I can't just save a spot on my pound for pound list, which I don't even really do the whole pound for pound list often, but mentally, I can't just say Andre Ward's the number 2 guy. I think he has all the skills in the world, but if he's that inactive and other people are continually fighting, moving through the ranks and blowing through their competition, I can't reserve a spot for somebody. So Andre Ward, I think this would be a big bang to come in to the game, and even if he were to go overseas. So I like it. I don't care where it happens. I just want to see this particular rematch. I think it's a good fight. Andre Ward also, he had a hand injury in the first fight. So I want to see a healthy Andre Ward since the shoulder surgery and without a fractured hand, how he does against Carl Froch. And again, an improving Carl Froch who's looking to go out with a bang. I mean, he did that with George Groves, but if he wants to continue fighting, he says he only wants to fight the big fights. Now, that's the only thing that I'll really say about Carl Froch, another fighter I really like and respect. He has an underrated and underappreciated resume, but he has been a lot more diva-like in terms of like, oh, James DeGale, that I don't fancy that fight, even though he's climbing through the ranks, but he wanted to fight Chavez Jr. You know what I'm saying? A guy who tested positive not too long ago. Some people doubt his work ethic and his skill and that kind of thing versus someone who's just climbing through the ranks looking good, more of an amateur pedigree than Chavez Jr. So I don't know. Ward fight's a good fight. That'll really show where Carl Froch is and, you know what I'm saying, how he wants to go out. Let's see if we can get this done in the UK. Like I said, I don't care where it happens. If it's in the UK, cool. They have great fans, passionate fans. They sold out the Wembley. So I think if Andre Ward really wants to make a huge statement, then that's the way to do it. Go over to the UK. The only downside to that, and there's no disrespect to the UK, I used to live there, but the UK, truth be told, sometimes fighters get impartial treatment. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they're a UK fighter. And we've seen that in a Carl Froch fight versus Andre Durrell, who I think Andre Durrell did enough to beat Carl Froch and didn't get the decision. So those are things you have to look at when you go on enemy territory. Not just UK, it's also in the States, because I thought Amir Khan had trouble, but I thought he did enough to beat Lamont Peterson, especially had it not been for the 2-point deduction. But Lamont Peterson was the hometown fighter in Washington, and he got the nod versus Amir Khan, who came from the UK as a champion and left as the loser of that fight. So anytime you travel, whether you're traveling to the States or to the UK, that's something you have to be concerned with. Not necessarily that you don't have the skills to win fair and square, that somebody may be biased towards the fighter, the hometown fighter, to the point where their scoring's all out of whack. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's a great fight. I think it's good for boxing and really good for Andre Ward, because I know a lot of you guys like to say that dumb shit. Andre Ward is a very skilled fighter. And it's funny how people joke and oh, I thought he retired. Oh, he still fights and all this dumb shit. But at the end of the day, you should actually probably celebrate him, because Andre Ward maintains discipline in situations where others wouldn't. You know what I mean? What I mean by that is you look at Adrian Broner, you look at Marcos Maidana, look at their off-season pictures. They ballooned up and gained a whole shit ton of weight. I seen Andre Ward in person when I was out in Denver. The man he looks like he's right near his fighting weight. So to remain disciplined, to remain focused when you have all the reason in the world not to be focused because you're dealing with dismal legal troubles, or you've been inactive and, you know what I'm saying, your shoulder's not cooperating like you want it to, that takes a lot of focus. And I interviewed Tony Brady, shout out to Tony, strength and conditioning coach, and he said Andre Ward has an insane, immense amount of drive, and he doesn't need someone to tell him what to do. He has it built in. And I think it shows in his work ethic, because again, like I said, a lot of you want to clown him for being inactive and going through legal trouble, basically kick a man while he's down. But those same people never point out the fact that, hey, my favorite fighter or these other fighters are ballooning up to Ricky Hatton proportions on their off season, and they're fighting actively, and they're not even taking care of their bodies, ballooning up in weight like Maidana just recently did, like Broner did at the PBC kickoff shit. And then you got a guy like Andre Ward, who's not even fighting, hasn't fought since 2013, yet he's still training, yet he's still staying disciplined, he's still staying focused in the sweet science. Little food for thought. Drop me a comment, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like my video. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.